The pack session of the 2014 Namescon. Given by because they still couldn't make Japanese. Oh, well, I was a quick break. I was in a taxi on my way here tonight, and a cab driver says to me, "What do you do, man?" And I said, "Well, I'm in the domain name business. I own the GTLD." And he turned back and he says, "I own too." That already doing my job. So I think we're all going to be more comfortable with the new world of new names and how they intersect with old names. About a year ago, there was a lot of question about was it going to be .com and .net versus all this .new stuff. Yeah, I always saw it as New York. New York was always .com. New York will always be New York. But there's so many great cities out there. I think I was the first person to use this analogy. I said, it's 1900. There's nobody in LA. There's nobody in Vegas. There's nobody, in Denver, Seattle, Houston, great cities in the West. There's nobody there. And there's great upside to be had in those spaces. And that's sort of proven itself to be true. Great namespaces that have small fortunes have been made. Those small fortunes will turn into big fortunes in the future. And we're all here at a really interesting moment in time because this is probably the best domain show I've been to in 5 years. In an industry that was declining due to lower PPC payouts, and the name sales with PPC pay-per-click payouts, paid search advertising coming from domain name, marketing, and then changes. That domain name related advertising. Now, we have a new industry, an industry that's matured, not because of really anybody in this room or anything external happening, just sort of really, I think I'd like to pay a little tribute to GoDaddy with all their Super Bowl commercials, with all their marketing. What's happened is they've sold a lot of people domain names. And the more people that get domain names, the more people that will be able to tell the good ones from the bad ones. And know that they need a better domain name because their name isn't that good. They just came up with it recently. And I'm so glad right now that I'm a little bit nearsighted because there are so many great people in this room that I would be so intimidated to speak in front of who have a lot of those great domain names, great friendly domain names that they own, that broker those names, that sell those names, that run businesses, that resell those names. It's just an amazing thing. I'm very proud to stand here in front of all of you and talk about what I sort of see happening next year, this year. And what's happened in the last year, where we've come from. So in the last year, 1 year ago today, my small business owner registry starting out had no new TLDs. We had a couple of them moved, but nothing was for sale yet. Nothing in large scale. And now we have 24 top-level domain names that we've secured. We have hundreds of thousands of new registrations in the market. We have a great registrar that we did a year ago. We have that as a tool in Fulcrum to help us manage our inventory and sell names for our customers and leverage our sales platform that will be integrated in this next year. And we're just one small part of this. We're just one small company trying to improve the utility and use and delightfulness and ease of use of domain names. I often say to our team, I want to be the Apple of domain names. I want to have a product that is seamless, that is delightful, that is integrated, that is elegant. And we're going to get there. We like the beginnings of our evolution. What we're trying to do. In our case, we recognize we're never going to be as large a retail restaurants. I tell everybody when I'm traveling, I talk a lot. I'll rent cars from Hertz. At the airport, there's Hertz, there's Amos, there's National, there's Budget, there's Alamo, there's Driven, there's Gallup, all these rental car agencies. That's just in America. You go to Europe, there's Six, and Europcar, and countless others that you can rent from. The reason no one company can be all things to all people. I thought about that again today when I noticed that Google launched the sort of more open version of their registrar. And also, I had to, as I heard as I got the tweet, that the Google had launched the registrar, I had another person say, wow, Google registers everywhere. I thought, you know what? Next year, you're going to see so much more presence from companies like Google, from GoDaddy, from other great registries, Donuts, and from Verisage, and others that are, you know, small and large, .com, our friends at .com. Some of the others that are going to be, you know, marketing with us all alongside the registries. We try to offer names, make them more easy to use, make them more helpful. Why is this industry so small? Here we are at the Tropicana. This is a 2/3 full theater, conference room. It couldn't be much larger. We go to an INTA event. I went to the INTA event in Hong Kong. We go to the INTA event again, where, you know, that 5,000 lawyers event, you know, a trademark conference. I don't know what in San Diego, an annual conference, and once a year fair. Why is it we go to a conference like that and have so many thousands of faces in the crowd? Huge conference room. You can't even see the people the person on stage. And you come to events like this, and it's important, as naming is, you know, it's so small. Well, names are difficult still and unwieldy to use. You know, the right hand does not know what the left hand is doing. There are all these different disciplines and facets. You want to buy the name, you go over here. You want to sell the name, you go over here. You want to create websites, you go over here. There are companies who try. GoDaddy's done a great job as a first effort trying to integrate all these elements. But it's still very, very early days. What I see in this next year is you're going to have a lot more companies trying to make names easy to use. I think the chosen one has not stood yet. You know, the one who will change things has not identified themselves yet in the greatest way. You know, it's still could happen. Any one person could be that person to do things. Registry is trying. We're trying to do great things. But we see, with all this effort, we think there's going to be great success. And what's neat about naming is one success in one field or success of one company is going to lift all the other companies in the space. It's a wonderful thing. You know, no one company can be all things to all people. There's room for everybody to prosper as the pie grows. That's what I think I'm most excited about. It's growth without cannibalization. We've grown tremendously in our sales platform last year. Sado was a fine retail marketplace, and they sold even more names. So in spite of the fact that people often tell me on the side, you know, wow, Frank, your stuff is so much different, even better in respects than Sado's. Sado is having record years. You know, so it's a growing pie. We're not really competing with each other in the same way that it would appear. Something I see in this next year, I think it's going to be the last small Namescon. I think you're going to see this grow a lot. You know, and this is probably 2 times the size of last year's event. And more people that make a difference, that are here not because they're curious or don't really know why they're here, but that are here doing business and trading, making things happen. More of that is going on here than happened last year by a long shot. So I see a much changing year for some years now. I see a lot more marketing. I can relate and listen to Dan Schilling talk. Dan is right. You know, the money that doesn't get spent acquiring new GTLDs is going to be spent on marketing by new GTLD companies. And you're going to see so much more marketing. And that will mirror the benefit of everybody else who has names to sell, because no 2 names are alike. Why do I think naming is so important? In a world of Twitter and Facebook and all these social platforms that are growing exponentially, why is naming so relevant? You know? And I think the answer to that is that, and my initial answer to me was quietly. My initial answer is because there's no email without a domain name. You know, email is the cornerstone of, you need a domain name for email. You can't get email without a domain name, so you need a domain name. And email is the cornerstone of online verification. It has a 99% penetration. Everybody has an email account. That is not going away. That is not a dying platform. 99% penetration. I don't have a Facebook account. And I'm a technologist, my wife has a divorce. But I have an email address. I have several email addresses. And I'm never going to give those up because when I want to verify my Twitter account, it goes, you guessed it, to my email. You know, there's no way around email. It's an open platform that no one company controls, that nobody can disintermediate easily. And it's growing worldwide. It still has 86% penetration in Europe. That's high. It's not like 99% in the US. So as email penetration grows, the domain name becomes more of a certainty. So I see email as the anchor to domains, but certainly not the only. Everybody needs a unique location and address to publish your content online. What I think you're going to find is that registrars and registries in the coming years make it more simple for people to publish content on domains, whether it's we're going to do deals with companies like LinkedIn for .link, where we can offer a .link domain name to LinkedIn users. We're going to do deals with different social platforms. We're going to see different social platforms apply for their own GTLD in round 2, which will come in 4 years or so, 3, 4 years. And that 4 years will go by blisteringly quickly. You won't even know what happened when you do that. So I see a great deal of change coming with this round of generic TLDs and the initial brands. I see registries and registrars creating the infrastructure to unlock the value of the domain names that have been created in the first round of new GTLDs and in original namespaces like .com or the CCTLD of the country you live in. So I see growth on all fronts, and I think it will be the registrars and registries that lead to that growth. I like in this last several years that led up into the new GTLD process, I liken it to a relay race. We had this relay that started with the new GTLD process. And somebody gave me the baton and said, run. And all the runners, all the other GTLD registries took the baton and started running around the racetrack. And when it was our turn to run around the track, earlier this year, when we launched the market, we had our baton ready to hand it off to the registrars. And a lot of registrars were like, what are you listing? And the consumers were like, I don't know, I'm not ready yet. We're getting probably to get this stuff together here. It was as fast as we were going. The process was so secretive. It was so clunky. Everybody was competing with one another at a registry level that the customers who we would ultimately sell to or sell through weren't ready to receive and run and do the next time. And I think that's going to change fundamentally this year. People are like, okay, it's time to run. We've got the baton now. I see this year, a great deal of opportunity on all fronts. I think one of the biggest challenges is, I think back in my earliest days, I have a great memory of the past. My grandmother, I get it from my grandmother, she could count the number of steps, go up to the front door of the house, and 13 steps to my front door of my house, I went. And I still very much remember the first day I registered the name. It was as some of you may know, it was a mistype of an actual name, but it was early in the days of the internet, and the correct spelling was still available, so I went back and got it. And then I went back subsequently and registered several more names that same afternoon. By the end of the day, I had 10 domain names. So why do I have 10 domain names? I don't have 10 businesses. I have maybe my first name and last name, I maybe something else. I had some ideas, some dreams. And often, my next thing is, well, maybe I can sell this. I read in the newspaper, somebody made a lot of money selling a domain name. And I forgot that was back in the day. We had newspapers back then. And so I think that a lot of people, they get the impulse to register a domain name, and then they have the impulse to sell over to maybe make some money to cover their cost of registration or something like that. And so I think that there's a great deal of demand to sell your domain names. This buying and selling domain names, which historically was a little bit frowned upon. Often mistakenly labeled as cyber squatting, because cyber squatting is known as the registering of trademarks as opposed to generic intent names. I would love to learn just to squatter or something else. And we all kind of have those instincts. Let's get something of value and perhaps we'll create more than what we need to sell it. And I think there's demand for register a domain name and then resell your domain name. So one of the things your registry is doing this year is we're taking our marketplace, or domain name sales marketplace, which we always run, large sales platform. We run that platform to sell my own operated inventory, along with the inventory of others getting in this room, who unfortunately can't see it. And we're going to integrate that platform inside the registry. why are we doing it? We're doing it so that you can register the domain, you can sell the domain. We're trying to roll out some novelty alongside that to make it more interesting. And we think that the assorted marketplaces that sell domain names, rather than compete with one another, will collaborate more in the coming year. That's a sea change in the scene. Historically, there was an us versus them mentality, where it came to other marketplaces. We think that there's going to be, I think, there's going to be more of a collaborative approach. We're certainly still going to compete, but at the same time, there's going to be more of a collaboration where it's in our economic best interests to collaborate. And I think why is that interesting? I think that's interesting because the me that isn't yet here on the scene, the same with the you that is a lot like I used to be, that isn't here yet on the scene. The person that doesn't have any domain names, that goes out and hears about this domain name phenomenon, and all the marketing that the registries are going to do, and the registrars are going to continue to do. Those people are like, I've heard about this domain name business, and you get a domain name, and you can buy it for nothing, and you can sell it for double your money. I can buy something for $20, and I can sell it for $40. That's a 100% return. Well, while those employees will hear back from them in this room, if you're working at IHOP, $5 an hour, $6 an hour, minimum wages now, I can guarantee you that sounds very exciting. So you're going to see a lot more faces, a lot more entrepreneurs. Some are going to wise, some are going to make this their profession, their livelihood. And I see a lot of that happening in this year as marketing starts to come on stream. Perhaps later this year, as the infrastructure starts to build, domain name sales platform, it's integrated inside your registry. Other marketplaces go down and improve their sales marketplace. Our marketplaces start talking to one another. Same improves their marketplace. As all this starts to happen, I see more innovation, everybody pulling on the road, pulling in the same general direction. And I think that lifts me. We're going to see more integrations. We're going to try to integrate some of our GTLDs as we have with Gmail, with other mail services. We're going to try to make it easy for people who publish a YouTube video clip to link their YouTube content through to a domain name and make that easy and delightful and free. We're not going to charge for these things. That's going to inspire more innovation on another way to make money. That's not the classical upsell search engine. So these are all innovations that are coming. We have a lot of really interesting people in this room who are going to become service providers, as I am. I used to be a domainer. That's how I started, as many of you in this room. Then I created a services company out of necessity. Some of you will do the same thing. Others will create sort of reseller model, which is living on other people's platforms. We have people now. This last Christmas, I was surprised. I came into the office one day, and a parcel of Christmas gifts arrived. I was like, who is all this from? And it was our customers giving gifts to us because we were able to unlock. Thank you, Frank. I can't tell you what people said to me. Thank you. I made $2 million last year selling names on your platform. I made $3 million selling names on your platform. I was doing a fingertip math. We probably facilitated $60 or $70 million last year of sales. It's remarkable. It's my challenge to figure out how to make that useful and provide utility while at the same time remaining profitable enough to keep it alive. Mercifully, I have names of my own myself. So I'm blessed that I've already been around for a long time to come. But it's still an interesting phenomenon. It shows you how big the tip of the iceberg effect is. There's so much business going on beneath underwater. So I could go on rambling talking I'm already 7 minutes over. I'll turn in the floor for questions. If anybody has any questions at all about names, naming, new GTLDs, infrastructure, or anything else for that matter, I'm pleased to oblige. So I'll be here for as long as I don't feel shy about going first. And, John. Is there anything? I'm going to hand it over here.
Well, I mean, when is enough too many TLDs?
When is enough?
It continues to register to a certain point when there's too many. So,
So it depends. I don't think that, so this is a really interesting question. When is enough in terms of new TLDs? When is enough? Great question. Really, there haven't been that many new TLDs. So let's look at the world through my eyes. How many GTLDs are added? In this round, about 1,000. 2,000 applications for 1,000 strings. 500 of those thousands, about half, it's figured in, were for generic strings. So we've got 500 strings. But now, how many of those are we getting by? You know, if you're a Chicago dentist, go ahead and ship the standard dot, as we call it. Standard dot is certainly good. Chicago.dentist. Okay, that's a great one. You don't want it. So it used to be chicagodentist.com, maybe in net, maybe in the US if you really want to get out there, right back to the world. So you get 3 strings for every region. Every Chicago dentist, that's all you got. Everybody else has to go with chick dentist or something like that. But now you've got Chicago.dentist. But this Chicago.dentist.link work, maybe. But it's new, nobody's heard of it, it's a little lesser in the mental food chain. You got .web, if it ever comes out, when it comes out, it will be big. Web, makes sense. .world, yeah, you know. But the internet's thinking really quickly. .buzz, I love Bill, but I'm not so sure. You know, that I can look at .buzz as a Chicago dentist. I'm not so sure I can look at .flowers. Chicago dentist .flowers? No, I don't like it for some reason. So you can see that, well, because these new strings are so targeted and so niche specific, the spectrum has really expanded. And you got to remember, in this round, we apply for the best we can get. There isn't like round 2's going to come, and we're going to have all the good ones come. All the good ones are happening now. So I kind of feel like the spectrum is smarter than people think. And that's why when I tell people publicly in comments on blogs or my own blog or wherever I can to go out and register the names of these new strings, and people are like, well, that's self-serving, Frank. You know, why would you tell people to go do that? I mean, it's sincere because there isn't that much inventory. And just like when the .com inventory left the room slowly, people like me and others started to register .com names. These names will absolutely disappear. There's no way, like, you know, Chicago.dentist.web will sit there. You know, if it's at registration rights, they will get taken, they will be reserved as premium by registries as registry assets, they will be resold. There isn't as much inventory as it looks like. It looks like, oh my God, there's 500 strings, there's going to be 10,000 strings. I'm putting them in business. You know, it isn't like that. You can't change human behavior. You're not going to call it something different. You can only move the dot so far. So I don't think there are that many names. And so when is it not enough strings to really answer your question? I really want to answer. There are so many people cutting. Only 1% of people. Dan said there were 300 million domains for 7 million people. But that's actually misleading. Dan admitted it in chamber. There are actually only about 70 million registries. I've got 300,000+ names. You know, I'm one man, right? There are a lot of people out there who have a lot of names. Companies. Verizon's holding tens of thousands of names. When someone like a wish list app or there's something he typos, but they're managed in one company, managing thousands and thousands of names. So there are only about 70 million individual registries for 7 billion people. That's 1% of the population on Earth has a domain name. Okay? So in the grand scheme, you need much more inventory. I'll never forget years ago when parking was at its height. And people were having cigar bars at the corner and at the parties, and we were all like talking about how much money we made. It was unsustainable and unholy. But I remember the comment, what's the problem? I asked my ad partner, what's the problem with this industry? Where do you see the problem? Because there's no problems here. We got cigar bars over here, we got dancing girls over there, life is great. And I said, well, you know, what's the problem in this business? Where's the red herring? And this young lady, who was now a senior person at a search organization, said to me, Frank, there's not enough inventory to make it a viable market. You need more inventory. It's counterintuitive. It's kind of like, I'm a conservative investor at Austrian School of Economics and Investment Management, McKinsey type. I think, you know, money supply, fiscal responsibility, but there's something to be said for getting cash in the hands of people. Circulation. Making sure that he has enough to spend, you know, and there's a balance there that doesn't quite work in there. And so to your point, you need more names. It's counterintuitive. While you may not have those names, actually having more names in the system, growing the pie, making names in general more relevant and important, is that it use your personal benefit, even if your portfolio is very small. It's counterintuitive. You have to kind of suspend your disbelief for a moment. And while doing this, how many more US dollars have been printed in the last since? It took from George Washington, first president of the United States, do George Bush to 5 trillion in debt. We now have 17 trillion, but I can still pacify why people can't achieve it. Why? Doesn't make sense, right? But there's more cash flow, and more people, both here and internationally. It increases the flow, it increases circulation. That works to a point until it doesn't work. There is a point where too much is too much. You see it in Zimbabwe, where there are few people holding too much cash. There's a point where you push this, where it sort of lifts all boats. I'm not smart enough. I don't think most economists would be able to tell you where that point is. But I can tell you that when 1% of people on Earth have a dollar bill in their pocket, there's no value to the dollar bill. You need everybody to have a dollar somewhere. So that's where I'm. Okay. Anybody else? A question? The white shirt. Is that Robbie? It's over there, Scott. Scott Ross. He's in Portugal. I love you.
I live in Eastern language and I'm getting a Bud Light. Ready?
All right. Let it out.
Last year at this conference, right, you recall there was a speaker that had many of us running for the exits on GTLDs. This morning, we had a speaker that awakened the sleeping curiosity about GTLDs that none of us had really, many of us really had discounted at that point. And you had commented earlier about the registry's investment to promote their GTLDs, and this morning it became very apparent that the cost of the GTLD requirement paled in comparison to the amount of money that is being invested by Howard Lefkowitz's group. We've got a pretty good taste of it today. You have a number of GTLDs, and obviously you have vested interest in promoting them to help them become successful for the registries. What are you doing? And we don't expect quite the same dog and pony show, but what are you doing to promote your GTLDs?
You know what? We're doing what we've always done. We bootstrap. We're trying to launch great strings with dog and pony shows cost money. So you got to spend that money. You can push really, really hard. But then you know what's going to happen is 2 or 3 years in, we'll have to have a price increase. We're going to go from low cost renewals to a couple dollars more. Try to offset all the inflation. And I think that works. I watched .com to see that nothing, and I watched other namespaces fail. And I think, and again, who made .com successful? We all did. When we took names, we said, how about there? How did that happen? Well, they provided a good canvas. It was a generic name. It was the only thing in town. It was low cost, fixed price renewal. The registry didn't get in the way of the customer doing business there too. We're trying to rip on that. We certainly have to believe in the concept of premium rates and developer of landwood. We have some brand, we have some premium line with legal developers and developers. And then we've got an open greenfield for anybody else to come first serve. But I think that doing too much too soon, the market isn't ready for it, isn't necessarily a good thing. Unfortunately, you can't push on the screen. You can't really, or you can kill yourself trying. You do a better job curating marketing. But I think there's a point where, every puff of confetti that goes in the air costs something, right? And I like the confetti as much as I like, and I don't want to dress it down. I think it's great. But I think that for our best strings, the cream will rise. So like good endings, you can't take a bad ending and make it good. It doesn't make sense. It isn't logical. You can only market it so far. Then you'll find its natural dinner level place. The cream rises. And the good endings will wind up at, if they're curated well. I take Doc Rag, great ending, and I put it out at $100 a year. That's not going to find its natural dinner level the same way it would for $5. And run by the registry that doesn't care how you use it. And it's completely open. And marketing, because everybody else will do the marketing for you. What do you do with that?
You have so many competitors though, with new names out there, you're almost assuming that the name will carry its own message. And I'm not sure that it'll do that like any other business. You have to promote your business. The registrants, in essence, become your affiliates. Your affiliates, if you're relying on your affiliates to do your marketing,
You're right, but
I'm not sure you're on the right strategy.
well, I appreciate that. We're kind of doing it. We give our registrants a great greenfield in an equal space. Double click, not a particularly strong string. We put it on at $5. We put everything in at $5. Everything I put in. People got like Chicago got click, New York got click for $5. Yeah, that's a really good thing. Those people are going to push really hard to try to sell it. We're going to watch what happens. The beautiful thing is we have multiple namespaces. We have .link, which we took some premium names. Chicago and New York are safely in the hands as registry assets that we develop. When we're talking, we'll give them away to the right register. We'll do something with it. But they're shoulder to the wheel, turn it into something great, and inspire others to do the same thing. So we were lucky to watching what works. That's far better than spending on a service that we may not be able to recover. Once the money's spent, we're in a deficit position. And that's sort of like Mises' Austrian School of Economics side of me trying to do a better job and curate the bootstrap our way to prosperity. Rather than, we can only go so fast and so far. .com started in '88. '88 was when we started the first .com registration. It's Bombs.com, 1988 registration. Registration number 1. It wasn't until the browser started in '93, '94 that people were like, wow, I can share a picture on the internet. This is amazing. That was 6 years later. Yes, 6 years later that the namespace started to come alive. And that still wasn't the awakening. It was about 3 to 4 years after that things really started. So you know what? Last year, 2014, and this year, really, right now, because we just launched that click a short time ago. There's many others. Most of the namespaces are not launched at this point. This year is your zero. You know? But by virtue of the fact that so much opportunities is happening in year zero, I'm not saying back up the truck and buy 10,000 names and the next new extension comes out. I'm saying prune them, mine the namespace, take names as if this is like a management. Take those names and then resell them at a profit, or you develop them, do what you've always done. But there is opportunity, greater opportunity, taking a name at registration price in year zero and selling it for 100, 200, 300% profit. And there is buying a mature.com name at an auction service like Namescon, which I still participate in. And then selling it for double, 100%, 300%. You go from 0 to 10,000 new Gs. You can't go from 1,000 to it's harder to go from 1,000 to 100,000 in mature namespace than it is going from 0 to 10,000 in a new G extension. It's a meaningful, resonant, powerful word. You're going to, I think what we're going to talk. You're going to get out, you're going to go? Bring that bad boy up. Thank you. Thank you very much, Frank. So, this is so great. I mean, people come to this with you, it runs